Good evening. My name is Mary Driggett, and this evening I'll be introducing Airbnb. Airbnb is just one of the many online companies in the emergence of peer-to-peer platforms. Peer-to-peer platforms have empowered individuals to collaboratively make use of underutilized inventory via fee-based sharing. In what is called collaborative consumption in a sharing economy, owners rent out something that they are not using, such as a car, a house, or even a bike, to a stranger using these peer-to-peer services. So what I'd like to review is what is Airbnb? How does Airbnb work? Why is Airbnb so successful? How has Airbnb impacted the travel industry? Where is Airbnb available? And what should a host know when placing an ad on Airbnb? We'll go over some discussion questions, and then there's a list of my resources at the end. So starting out, what is Airbnb? According to Airbnb, they provide a trusted community marketplace for people to list, discover, and book unique accommodations around the world. Airbnb is an online community marketplace that connects people looking to rent their homes with people who are looking for accommodations. Airbnb users include hosts, which list and rent out their unused spaces, and then you have travelers who search for and book those accommodations. Airbnb was founded in 2008 by Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia. During this time, Brian and Joe were unable to afford the rent for their apartments, so they turned their living room into a bed and breakfast and provided homemade breakfast for guests. From there, they raised money to get started. They worked with investors, and it became the global powerhouse that it is today. Airbnb is present in over 50,000 cities around the world. So how does Airbnb work? Airbnb hosts list their properties. This can be anything from a single bedroom, a suite of rooms, apartments, yachts, houseboats, or even an entire house. And believe it or not, I saw it online. You can even rent a castle through their website. It's free to create a listing, and the host decides how much to charge per night, per week, or per month. Each listing allows the host to promote properties through their titles, descriptions, photographs with captions, and a user profile where potential guests can get to know a bit about the other host. Airbnb charges the host 3% of the price once a booking is completed. The total cost to the host is calculated from the reservation subtotal. This also includes any cleaning fees. Now, the cleaning fees are determined by the host, and sometimes they choose not to charge this fee. But Airbnb handles the transaction from the guest to the host. So on this slide, I just provided some screenshots of what your Airbnb accommodation pages look like. So in this example, I pulled a search for Clearwater Beach, Florida, and there were several options available, pages, many that I could choose from. So in this one here, if I brought up, it's a renovated beach condo. And here you can view amenities, prices, you can verify check-in dates, you can review guest reviews, and book your stay should you choose to book that. Airbnb offers the cleanliness of a hotel combined with the good prices offered through a hostel and the shelter provided by both. Airbnb, however, also provides a sense of surprise, personality, conversation, and authenticity that you can't get with the other two. Airbnb offers a much wider range of products and services than hotels. Airbnb users can rent anything from apartments to an entire house, and because Airbnb leverages existing housing inventory, it can potentially expand supply wherever houses and apartment buildings already exist. And this is in contrast to hotels, which must be built at locations in accordance with local zoning requirements. So I wanted to take a minute and watch this commercialized video advertising B&B. I really felt that their marketing was so in line with their services that even with or without sound on it, it really sells you on the idea of what they're trying to gain in their marketing and offers. So let's take a look. So after taking a look at that, why is Airbnb so successful? So, Chip Conley is the head of global hospitality and strategy at Airbnb, and he explained Airbnb became the successful brand it is today by following trends of disruption in the hospitality business that had been around since the 1950s, and by understanding shifts in consumer behavior. He said that with the hospitality industry transformation followed three rules of innovation. Innovation doesn't happen without foreshadowing. Innovators address a human need that isn't being met. And over time, the establishment embraces innovation that was once disruptive. So, how has Airbnb impacted the travel industry? So, looking at this from a consumer's point of view, we show that hotels in areas where Airbnb has an established presence have responded to increased competition by lowering their prices, which can in fact harm their revenues, but it does benefit all travelers, even those who don't use Airbnb. With decreased cost, you can see an increase in tourism and travel. In addition to reduced prices, consumers also benefit from increased variety provided through peer-to-peer platforms. And additionally, consumers on the supply side benefit through additional income generated by providing goods and services via peer-to-peer platforms. In this chart, though, you can see the average cost between an Airbnb price and an average hotel price paid online. As you can see, there are some significant differences. In Los Angeles, there's a difference of 47%. San Antonio is 44%. Philadelphia, 44%. Washington, D.C., 43%. New York at 42%. San Francisco at 36%. And Chicago at 34%. Now, this information was between July 1st of 2015 to July 31st of 2016. So, of course, some of these prices have changed, but this should give you an indication of just how much savings there is by doing an Airbnb booking. So, where is Airbnb available? Since launching their services in 2008, Airbnb has exploded in popularity. Its posted um, increases are impressive. They have impressive growth numbers each year since its launch, and they haven't shown any signs of slowing down. This chart shows an average number of rentals available in various states. You can see that areas such as Texas, you have over 25,000 properties listed. California leads the way with over 125,000 available properties that you can rent through their services. And this is huge. And then, which cities have the most Airbnb listings? So, this is a number of listings worldwide included. That was reported also again in 2016, but as you can imagine, this number has grown even since then. Topping the list is Paris, where you can choose from 78,000 properties. It was reported that in a 3-month spanning from June 1st to September 1st of 2016, Airbnb saw a 20% guest arrival in Paris and an 80% increase across the rest of France. That's huge. This makes France the second largest market in the world, with the United States, of course, being number one in Airbnb rentals. So, as a host listing your property on Airbnb, what should you know? For starters, you have state and local laws that might limit or prohibit the renting of property. And then there's also information on rental income taxes. So, state and local laws may limit or prohibit the renting of properties. These laws are often part of the city's zoning or administrative codes. Airbnb still faces hurdles to its core business related to local housing regulations in many cities around the world. In many cities, you must register, get a permit, or obtain a license before you can list your property or accept guests. Certain types of short-term bookings may be prohibited altogether. So local governments may vary greatly in how they enforce these laws. Penalties could include fines or other enforcements. So, in addition to complying with state and local laws, hosts should be aware that they might be subject to rental income taxes. And to assist the U.S. tax compliance, Airbnb does collect taxpayer information from hosts so they can provide an account of their earnings each year via 1099 and 1042 forms. So let's discuss. Now that you've seen this presentation, I'd love to hear from you. Here's just a list of questions that I've come up with that I'm really interested in knowing about. Have you used Airbnb before? And have you traveled out of the country using Airbnb? And if you did, where did you go? And what was your experience? How was the online experiencing when purchasing your reservations? And how does Airbnb compare to other peer-to-peer platforms that you might have used, such as Uber or Lyft, as far as going online and the accessibility and ease of doing business this way? So I'd love to hear from you, and thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation.